Now, Trump says this is a bait and switch. We want the ABC debate governed by the CNN rules, even though those rules were agreed to by Biden, not the Harris campaign. These people are so sick. This person should be ashamed of themselves. When Trump was kind of getting swirly on the September 10th date, they said, you already agreed to it. So what if it was with Joe Biden? We're going to keep it because George Slapadopoulos will be there. Now they're coming and they want to change the rules again. They are so pathetic. It's embarrassing. Her proposal, unveiled as part of her first big economic policy, has become a focal point. It's alarmed a bunch of people. Republicans call it communist price controls because it is. Yeah, man, it's like, oh gosh, we've said it before, you know, like things go slow, then they go fast. It's like we're like one election away. Questions about the debate are here. One big question is whether the Trump-Harris debate will actually happen. Politico's reporting this, saying they're now battling over hot mics at the debates. We've got this debate coming up very soon, a couple weeks from now, September 10th, and now they've hit an impasse. Question is whether they should have the microphones on. And September 10th, I do believe, was the same debate that had already been pre-scheduled. In June, Joe Biden's campaign came to an agreement with Trump. There would be two debates, CNN on June 27th and ABC on September 10th. And we remember that. September 10th in particular is the next one. Trump showed up here, followed the rules, crushed Joe Biden. They put in a whole new candidate because they're cheaters. They threw him out and I said, oh crap. So it was already conducted by mutually negotiated rules. Now, one of Biden's team's demands, which Trump agreed to, which was that the microphones will be muted throughout the debate except for the candidate whose turn it is to speak. But now Biden's no longer running for president, and Harris's campaign wants the microphones to be on at all times. And then they're now coping for them, as has historically been the case. Wait a minute now. Remember when Trump said, let's move the September 10th debate, or let's take the September 10th debate and go on Fox News or whatever, all of the insane lefties and Kamala said, Trump's refusing to debate us on September 10th. So he said, fine, I'll debate you on September 10th on ABC. We already had the rules agreed to. Now Kamala's trying to change the rules. Harris wants the microphones now on. So she's trying to change the rules because she doesn't want to debate. Says, we have told ABC and other networks seeking to host a possible October debate that we believe both candidates should have their mics live, said Brian Fallon. So they're changing the rules. The rules were already agreed on. Our understanding is that Trump's handlers prefer the muted microphone because they don't think that their candidate can act presidential, is what they said. We suspect Trump's team has not even told them. They just want to mute him. Now, privately, the Veep's team, Harris's team, believes that Harris can get Trump to lose his cool on the mics. Okay. She's more than happy to have exchanges with him if he tries to interrupt her. And given how shook he seems, he's very prone to having outbursts. I think the campaign wants to hear that. Now, Trump says this is a bait and switch. We want the ABC debate governed by the CNN rules, even though those rules were agreed to by Biden, not the Harris campaign. These people are so sick. This person should be ashamed of themselves. Remember, they didn't make that excuse when Trump was putting up. He was saying, well, why would I agree to debate Harris? That was, I agreed with Biden. And they said, well, what's the difference? So now they're trying to change it, right? Well, why? How come Harris never agreed to those? Okay, well, Trump agreed to the September 10th date and the ABC date with Biden, and he's still honoring those because you guys demanded it. They said, enough with the games. We accepted the ABC debate under the exact same terms as the CNN debate. The Harris camp, after already having agreed to the CNN rules, they asked for a seated debate with notes and opening statements. We said no changes to the rules. Okay, Jason Miller brought this out. You guys are pathetic. You want notes, you want to have her seated, you want opening statements and all this. If Kamala Harris isn't smart enough to repeat the messaging points her handlers want her to memorize, that's their problem. Okay, this seems to be a pattern for the Harris campaign. They won't allow Harris to do interviews, they won't allow her to do press conferences, and now they want to give her a cheat sheet for the debate. My guess is they're looking for a way to get out of any debate with Trump. It's exactly right. Trump on Sunday night then openly questioned whether he'll do this debate, suggesting the network might be biased, without mentioning anything about the microphone contretemps. Trump himself has suggested additional debates with Harris, governed by rules different from CNN, including a Fox News debate with a full arena audience. CNN has no in-person. The no live mic stance is also at odds, so now they're saying, well, Trump should just agree with her. Right, it's just pathetic. So Kamala's trying to change everything. As for Miller's assertion that Harris wanted a seated debate with notes, Fallon says no. All three parties have agreed to standing and no notes. We never saw it otherwise. They said, no, that's not true. Now, at the time it accepted ABC's invitation, Harris's campaign did so while making clear that the rules themselves were up for debate, and its current snag is any indication the debate is far from settled. They do not want her to debate, honestly. So if they can frame it as Trump is backing out, they're going to do everything they can to back out of this and make it on Trump, right? Trump doesn't want to debate, and they're going to want to change the rules. And when Trump was kind of getting squirrely on the September 10th date, they said, you already agreed to it. So what if it was with Joe Biden? We're going to keep it because George Papadopoulos will be there. Now they're coming and they want to change the rules again. They are so pathetic, it's embarrassing. Trump said this, I watched ABC fake news this morning, both lightweight reporter Jonathan Karl's ridiculous and biased interview of Tom Cotton, who we saw earlier. Trump says, who was fantastic, and their so-called panel of Trump haters, and I ask, why would I do the debate against Kamala Harris on that network? Will panelist Donna Brazile give the questions to the Marxist candidate like she did for crooked Hillary Clinton? Will Kamala's best friend, who heads up ABC, do likewise? Where is little George Slopadopoulos hanging out right now? Will he be involved? They've got a lot of questions to answer. Why did Harris turn down Fox, NBC, CBS, and even CNN? Stay tuned. Very interesting. And now they're going to change the rules. I mean, it's going to be like an attack unlike anything we've ever seen. We were concerned about that with Joe Biden, with that debate, with Jake Tapper and Dana Bash. I think this will be much worse because Kamala is their end game. They have nothing else going for them. Now, we're preparing for a 10-week sprint, baby. We've got just a few short weeks ahead. Things are going to be as spicy as they've ever been. You see, this is what The Hill has for us. Says 10 weeks from now, Harris's party is trying to cast themselves as the underdogs for whatever reason, even though they control the government, even as her entry into the campaign has supercharged Democrats who are already down in the dumps. Trump, whose face calls to change his campaign strategy. Trump said, we're having great success. As I'm doing great with Hispanic voters. I'm doing great with black men. I'm doing great with women because women want safety. No, it's only in your eyes that they have momentum, Martha. We're doing very well in the polls. A decision desk average shows Harris leading Trump by Michigan by 2, North Carolina by 1, Pennsylvania by 1, Wisconsin by 3. Trump leads Harris by 3 in Georgia, 1 point in Nevada, 2 candidates deadlock in Arizona. Both sides are aware of the numbers. They say we're in an era of close elections. Small shifts are significant, which is why this RFK stuff's important. I think it's probably a good chance that Harris moved the race a couple points in her direction. Her late emergence as the nominee. She's got 100 days to motivate. RFK Jr.'s announcements is also a big deal. There are going to be dramatic moments, but Democrats had a pretty remarkable turnaround. They've also raised like $500 million. All that Biden money that's been sitting on the sidelines for months is now coming back out. Multiple paths to victory for Trump. They said his campaign likely needs to sweep the blue wall, which Trump won in 16, lost in 20. I want to urge everybody out there, we're not taking this for granted, baby. Act 1 of the Harry Walls campaign ended, said Jim Kessler. Act 2 starts now. We're going to have debates and the race is dead even. Yeah, and Kamala hasn't actually said anything. She hasn't done a press conference. She hasn't released any policies, and they're actually concerned about her policies. Democrats are even like, can you ixnay on the price gouging, please? Stop it. Hill Democrats are trying to tamp down on the backlash to Harris's grocery price gouging pitch. In private, some lawmakers are telling voters, her proposals will never pass, so don't worry about it. Okay, then why are we electing her? Some Democrats said it's never going to pass. Her proposal, unveiled as part of her first big economic policy, has become a focal point. It's alarmed a bunch of people. Republicans call it communist price controls because it is. Yeah, man, it's like, oh gosh, we've said it before, like things go slow, then they go fast. It's like we're like one election away from Kamala and communism, like outright communism. While much in Harris's price gouging plan remains vague, a central piece is a call for Congress to pass the first ever federal ban on price gouging, which mirrors legislation by Elizabeth Warren, another communist. But such a bill has no chance of passing Congress, says the Democrats. They've been saying, no, it's not viable at all, but you should still vote for her for some reason. They just said it's a messaging tactic. It's a way to show that she understands food prices. It's sick. It's dishonest is what it is. It's culpable politicians blaming other people for their malfeasance. It's blaming. They're blaming private corporations for price gouging. You did it, you piece of work. Stop blaming everybody else for your own problems, Kamala. It's clear to me that these are very general, very lofty goals. This guy was granted anonymity because he's a coward. He can't speak plainly. I think people are reading too much into what has been put out there, said Governor Gretchen Whitmer. The proposal was intended to address it in broad strokes because it's a disaster. Harris would also likely need, even their own party doesn't like her plan. Someone said, I honestly still don't know how that would work. Still waiting on getting the details. Even many Democrats remain skeptical. Harris has been under pressure to provide more details, but if you do, then you have this problem. The rollout of her plan to combat food inflation has sparked concerns among business leaders, economic concerns, but pieces of her plan, like increasing competition, are straight from Biden's playbook. Biden's advisor, Brian Deese, is now advising Kamala. But the broad price gouging language signals a more progressive agenda. The backlash has triggered her allies to start defending her. She's going to work with Congress to ensure it's only directed at bad actors and bad activity. And so the government's going to come in here and tell you what your prices should be. So pretty wild. And the Democrats are covering for own bad policies, right? That's how desperate they are. It's like, well, it is actually communism, but we can't tell our constituents that, otherwise we'll lose. So we won't tell them that at all.